You didn't choose your spiritual awakening, it chose you. And the moment it happened, your old life changed forever. But why is that the best thing that ever happened to you? It's the divine knocking on your door, and life as you knew it is over. So what now? Let's explore the magic and the mystery of your spiritual awakening. First, what is a spiritual awakening? Please remember, this is not something you initiated. It's something that happened to you. It is the divine knocking on your door, and this is opening up a new life. It's like a discovery. It's like discovering the Americas for the first time or something brand new. It's changing your life forever, and the question now becomes, what are you going to do with this new opportunity? Earth is a schoolhouse, and we are all students in this school, regardless if we've had the awakening or not. But when we've had the awakening, it means we're starting a new chapter in our earthly spiritual education and how we're going to bring in the spirit life in a more conscious way into the life we know. That's the first assignment. What are the challenges and opportunity that the spiritual awakening brings? First of all, let's remember this is an opportunity. This is a new world that we're stepping into. But like any new discovery, anyone that's breaking new ground, sometimes the people in the world around them do not first understand what is going on. Now, you may be in an environment that sort of supports your spiritual awakening. Maybe others around you have had theirs, or it's not a strange topic. And these are things you can share with other people, because one of the things you want to do when you've first had your awakening is share this with others. There's so much excitement you want to share in that. And it may be surprising that some have no idea what you're talking about and may think you've gone a little crazy even. And these can be people that you love very much. So often when we've had our spiritual awakening, the world around us was not really designed for that and didn't really exactly accommodate that. So we have to navigate through these waters because we realize we're disrupting, we're shaking things up a little bit. And that will create a challenge. Now, some, when they've had their awakening, they go a little bit to the extreme. They feel they have to change everything in their life and they can't live the life they knew at all. They walk away from it all, so to speak. And that's taking it to an extreme. That's not what the divine is asking you to do. Others, when they've had their awakening, they maybe have a good life as it is, and they see, this is going to change things, and they may try to hit the brakes. And there are even times where people don't follow through on the awakening they've had because they know how much it'll change the world they're around them, and they're feeling a little too comfortable to have the courage, because it takes courage to walk the path, to make the changes that are needed. And then this can be a slowdown. If you've had this marvelous opportunity and you don't take the opportunity, it is missed. It is a missed opportunity. So you are meant to follow through, but it does take courage to follow through. So what do? Well, first of all, you don't try to change everybody around you. You don't try to make everybody agree with what you're experiencing, because they're in their own time, in their own place, in their own rhythm. So if you try to make the world the way you see it right away, you're going to have a lot of resistance potentially to it. And people will feel that you're preaching to them, or you're trying to, you got something they don't have, or something like that. And you don't want that. That's not what this is about. You had the awakening, you had the transformation, not the other person perhaps, or situation. How do you handle a situation? Let's say you're married and you have your awakening and your spouse did not, and does not understand what's going on with you, and maybe feels like a little bit shaken by it actually. And those things can really happen. Well, the first thing and the most important thing is love. Remember, the spiritual awakening and the entire spiritual path is founded and paved in love. So you are learning to become more loving. So if those around you are not immediately understanding what you're going through, the first thing you want to do is show maybe twice as much love. Let them know how much you care about them. Be more demonstrative in that love, more expressive in that love. But as Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true, and in turn you cannot be false to anyone. Meaning, you show the kindness, but you pursue the path. Sometimes it's almost better to pursue it a little bit quietly in terms of what's going on around you. It gives you time to acclimate. It gives you time to orient yourself a little bit better. And then if you see an opening, if you see somebody that might be as interested, of course, then you start sharing there. Now, another thing that happens, and don't be surprised when and if this does, is you start to see your world and your friends and your people around you in a different light. Maybe you thought this person that was your closest buddy, now you realize, not a fair weather friend, but maybe you weren't as close as you thought. Maybe you don't have quite as much in common as you used to anymore. And maybe that friendship might be shifting a little bit. On the other hand, you're starting to make new friends and people maybe that were already in your life that you weren't as engaged with. You're realizing, wow, we really have a lot in common. You know, I was surprised when I had my own awakening. People I knew, many did not understand what I was going through, but some who I just knew as friends were telling me they were having experiences which they never shared with me before because I wasn't at that place, and they somehow knew that. But when I had had my awakening, we could now share those things together. So you'll be surprised at, shall we say, the new friends that you're going to make, the new acquaintances, because fellowship is important. If you're pursuing your spiritual quest in isolation, well, you still have to pursue it, but thank God for the internet. Thank God for the way we can reach out to people more now in even different parts of the world. You do want to find sort of like-minded souls that help you in the journey. While we are responsible only for our own soul growth, to be with fellow spiritual travelers that are doing their own work, it is very encouraging. You support them and they support you. So slowly you start to build up a new network, but don't rush this. This is not a short-term situation. The other thing you've got to look here is that look at this long-term. The 91st Psalm says, with long life will I satisfy God and show my salvation. This is, in a sense, this awakening that you've had is, in a sense, a lifestyle change. You are now in a new mode of your life, a new way of seeing things. You can't go back to the old way, regardless of how much you pursue it, because your world has changed. When the world finally understood that the earth was round and not flat, well, that changed everything. That changed perspectives on so many different levels. You couldn't see the world in the same way again. And that's the same with the spiritual awakening. And then as you slowly start to acclimate to this, then you get more deeply into it. Now, the other part of this is when you first have your awakening, there is a kind of honeymoon period. And this is sort of like, I don't want to call it the playtime, but especially if you're not familiar, let's say, with the world of metaphysics and all the things that have been written and the different spiritual traditions of the past, you're kind of exploring right now. You're not necessarily committing to anything. When I had my awakening, I did a lot of reading and research, but I didn't commit to a group right away. I wanted to understand the platform that I was in, or that I was engaging in and understanding. So this is a time for exploration, and try to understand these different, shall we say, traditions on their own terms. Don't try to make them what you want to make them. See them for what they are, and then later you can decide, well, do I want to follow this particular tradition or not? We are a little vulnerable at this stage. When something brand new and we don't quite understand it yet and it's exciting, there's that wondrous aspect, almost like we're almost childlike at that point in our wonder. And we can be, I don't want to say gullible, but we can be susceptible to things that normally maybe we would not be, because the truth of the matter is not everything out there that is labeled spiritual is in fact spiritual. Like any field of endeavor, there are those that are, we call them the half-bakes. They know a few things but don't really know a lot, or they're out to take advantage of you. And there, of course, are the genuine ones that can help you. And what my teacher taught me very early on is discernment. You want to try to understand where, if you're exploring a teaching, where did this teaching come from? And does it challenge your own belief systems? You do not want to throw away your common sense, your intellect. You need all those things, because now you are stepping a little bit into the invisible world, and you need all the grounding and all the strength and everything you have to not fall prey to the false prophets, to the pitfalls on the path. And of course, those are teachers too. And another way you want to kind of help steer yourself from this is you're also looking to your own motive. Remember, metaphysics is not an escape from life. It's not an escape from the cares of the world. Your spiritual awakening is the fuller understanding of the world. So it's meant to empower you to face the challenges of your life with more maturity, more understanding, with more wisdom, and with greater success. So you become, in this journey, a greater participant in the journey of life, more creative, more engaged, more of everything, loving, kind, wiser. There's no place that the light doesn't touch. There's no place that the divine does not reach you in time as you allow this expansion to come through. And the other thing to share with all of this is you are going to change. There is like a divine presence unfolding in you. Maybe you have some habits you're not so proud of right now, or character traits that aren't that exemplary. Well, those are the things that will start to drop away because you are becoming the more splendid you. You are, as Yogananda would say, you are aiming for the self-realization, the realization of the divine self. We know this human material self very well, but we're trying to understand the inner divine self, and that takes time. You won't discover that right away, but you will get glimpses and pictures of it piece by piece by piece until it beautifully unfolds. And then as that unfolds, people will come to you and say, well, what's going on with you? They will see that positive change. And it's very encouraging. You may find yourself saying, gosh, just a couple years ago, that would have bothered me to no end. Now I didn't even think about it. That's the change that you want to see, where your character is building, your courage is building. And yes, if you've been having some spiritual experiences, whether they're clairvoyant or whatever, those could increase, but they will increase in a rhythmic way, in a way that still keeps you grounded in reality. If you've had the awakening, if you're watching this video because you've had that awakening, it is not accidental, and pursue it with all your heart. Do your best to make your spiritual life a higher priority in your life. I know there is so much stuff crowding in on us today, so much that wants our time and attention. But if you make the spirit part of you the center of your life, everything else will fall into place. That's the big key. It'll get you through the sunny days, it'll get you through the rainy days, whatever it is. And then be discerning with what's out there. Take time to evaluate, use your own best judgment. Don't feel afraid to challenge certain things. If they don't sound right to you, put it to the test. My teacher, Barbara, told me, don't accept these things just because I said them. Put them to the test for yourself, and your own experience will tell you of their validity. That's what you want to do. And also be willing to explore yourself, to challenge yourself, your own beliefs, because you may have been holding on to some beliefs that were not true. And now that the light of truth is coming more and more into your life, you're going to see through some of the old you. So are you becoming more loving? Are you becoming more kind? Are you becoming more patient? How is that unfolding? Those are the signs of your next step in progress in pursuing your spiritual awakening. If you take one thing away from this video, it is to make your spiritual growth the centerpiece of your life. It is the divine calling you, telling you the time has come. Pursue it, and it will take you to absolutely extraordinary places. If you want to learn more about your spiritual evolution and metaphysics and the aura, subscribe to this channel and check out our website for our courses and books on metaphysics.